Poet Laureate, and part of the directives as being Poet Laureate is to take poetry to the community. And of course, I was named in 2020 in December. So when I started 2021, it was totally in pandemic. So what was I going to do? I went to the library. I actually an employee of the city of Laredo. I didn't know, but when they named me, they made me an employee, and my liaison is, or my office is there at the library, not office, but I mean, this is my liaison. And Ms. Roxanne Garza and Ms. Mary Solis have been so helpful, and they suggested a WebEx seminary. And so I started doing this back in February in 2021, and I couldn't do it with Ms. Roxanne Garza right there in the screen. She there, wave, Roxanne, because you really, if it weren't for you, these workshops would not be possible. So thank you again, Roxanne. And we are ready to start at 6:02. And this is again my 9th workshop for this is my second year, the second of this year. And I still have some plan for you. April is going to be Shakespeare and Cervantes. And I'm so happy Joe and Tina Arciniega are here, because there will be my stars for Shakespeare. I mean, we are so happy to have you in the community, and I have to use all your talents. So next month will be Shakespeare and Cervantes, and then May and June is Mother's Day and Father's Day. We pause for July and August because everybody goes out. And then September and October are very special. September, we've been doing Life on the Border, and October we do Calaveras, for those of you, my students from Cigarroa, okay? And my directive, again, as Poet Laureate, was to take the poetry to the community and to hopefully make you realize that poetry is everywhere. La poesía está donde quiera, ¿no? There's so many poems about that in Spanish more than in English. I don't know them in English too well, but in Spanish, there's a lot of poems that tell you poetry is everywhere. But if you want to, I hope you want to write poetry also. But the first tip, if you want to do anything, write anything, all the teachers that I have here will concur with me, is you have to read. That's, if you want to write anything, you have to read about it. Read, and in this instance, also listen to poetry, because poetry, its oral, is like a song. And then another tip is to respond to the poems you like by writing your own original version of it. Keep a journal. I always tell everybody, somebody said el diario. Ángeles Borrego, who's one of our participants, said el diario. Pues I have a diario, a journal where I keep a lot of notes, because you never know when you have images, sensations, happenings that are that can be basis for a poem. And today I'm going to ask you to write in a piece of paper as we say the poems today. We have wonderful poems for today, so keep a journal, or the best verses, or what you see, anything that moves you from the poem, write it down, and when you write poetry, of course, you will use images, metaphors, etc. I'll come back to this because I don't want to bore you too much. I will come back to this at the end of the session. And I found this in the internet, where else, acronym to study poetry. And I love that it's called SMILE. And SMILE starts with structure, that we will not study too much, because then I don't want to scare you if I say too much about structure. But the most beautiful, the meaning, this M for SMILE, the meaning. What is this poem about? What is it telling us? What is the message? Image. What images does a poem create it? And of course, if you see those images, write them down if you like them. Of course, we use a lot of metaphors because we have to say little in a lot in a small space of time and words. Imagery, language, effect. Let's go for effect. What effect does that poem have on you? So that is so important for you to remember what effect. So um, re, write, if that's the effect, write something about each poem. Okay. And again, I'm seeing Samantha Mabel just getting in here. And no, don't worry, I just get in here. But I want you to be a participant of everything that we're doing. We are starting with our first poem, and I am so happy to have the star of the theater, the Shakespearean actor, Mr. Joe Arciniega. Oh, Joe, you don't know what it means for you to be here with us. And I had written lots of notes, and now a la hora de la hora, I don't know where they are. Oh my gosh. Okay. But I had written about Joe that he is Mr. Theater. And thanks to Joe, the Laredo Theater Guild went to such heights, I think. And I knew Joe when he was a young man in the Laredo Little Theater, and I'm so happy he came back to Laredo because he's a true treasure for Laredo. So Joe, thank you very much for reading this poem, She Walks in Beauty. And I did read where your daughter has, do you have dudes? Well, because in ancient times, women did not write poems. Tina knows that, and you know that, but the first dude wrote the most beautiful poem, She Walks in Beauty. And as you all know, Lord Byron was the enfant terrible, the bad boy of English literature. I mean, he was so bad, he was even exiled from England for doing cochina cosas. Well, I don't, he, but he wrote a lot of poems, but this one in particular is so beautiful. He wrote it when he met a cousin of his that was not only beautiful, but she had a beautiful heart. And so we find here in She Walks in Beauty, the beauty of the person and the beauty of the heart and the soul. And that was a cousin of hers. And there's nothing romantic about this. He didn't mess with her. One of the few ones because I mean, te digo, he was not too good era muy Don Juan este. But anyway, Joe, please read with that beautiful voice of yours. What a beautiful, beautiful woman this is, and what a beautiful soul she has. And again, write in your journal, in your paper, some verse that you like, the effect that it has, something about each poem. So maybe when we finish, you'll be inspired to write one like this one, or like one of the many others that we're going to read. Mr. Arciniega, thank you so much. It's all yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Rosa Maria, and welcome everyone. I did want to add one more thing about Lord Byron and this his cousin that he wrote this about. He was inspired when he saw her at a funeral. So she was actually in mourning attire, all dressed in black, but she happened to have put sequins on her black dress, so she caught his eye, and his breath was taken away. And he was a real womanizer, but he certainly appreciated beauty. We can't deny that. So this is She Walks in Beauty by George Gordon, Lord Byron. She walks in beauty, like the night of cloudless climes and starry skies. And all that's best of dark and bright meet in her aspect and her eyes. Thus mellowed to that tender light which heaven to gaudy day denies. One shade the more, one ray the less, had half impaired the nameless grace which waves in every raven tress, or softly lightens o'er her face, where thoughts serenely sweet express how pure, how dear their dwelling place. And on that cheek and o'er that brow, so soft, so calm, yet eloquent, the smiles that win, the tints that glow, but tell of days in goodness spent, mind at peace with all below, a heart whose love is innocent.
I thank you so much. How, I, how beautiful you read, my Joe. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
And did you get that? I mean, this woman's so beautiful, and yet what a tender heart and innocent, and coming from Lord Byron, the bad boy of English literature, of that time. So thank you, and I hope you um, it effect affects you. Sometimes effect and affect. Oh my goodness, we have trouble with those two, but I hope the effect affected you. So now we go to Shakespeare. He should have been first because chronologically he goes first. He is oh my goodness, where are there? 1564 to 1616. He was way before Lord Byron. But this one, which Tina was so nice to tell me, Rosa Maria, this is very say the word, misogynistic.
Misogynistic.
Misogynistic. Sometimes my English, fails me. Misogynistic. And I said, well, but I want it for a reason. I want this for a reason. Yes, it's a parody. It's been called a joke because this mistress eyes are nothing like the sun. And he goes on and on. She's not as beautiful. So Shakespeare here, the genius that he is, he didn't want us to have this beauty of the Renaissance, that Petrarch, what this is. Oh, the structure of this, very important, is a sonnet. And the sonnet, quatrains and couplets at the end. And the Petrarch, it was different. I'm not going to go into all that, but in the Renaissance, they were always saying how beautiful, like Venus de Milo and all that. And he changed all that. And he said, this was not as beautiful, but she treads on the ground and I still love her. O sea, this is a real woman that's not the Hollywood type beauty, but I love her. And I like that because unlike She Walks in Beauty, where both, everything was beautiful, here you don't have a beauty, yet she loves her, he loves her. And that's what I take of this one. And I hope you enjoy. And this is by far so beautiful also. It's so lyrical. It's like a song, and I love that about this, my mistress eyes, Sonnet 130, that Tina didn't want me to have. I know. I understand, Tina. Yes, I told you about it, but it goes, and you'll see with the next one it goes too. Okay. So thank you so
Yes.
much. And of course, Miss Tina, wonderful English teacher, just elected to the Laredo Hall of Fame. Congratulations.
Oh,
Well
thank you, Rosa
deserved
Maria.
as
Thank
a
you,
teacher,
everyone.
I know. And we're so happy. We have a lot of teachers today. And I'm so happy. Thank you for reading for
Oh,
us.
thank you, Rosa Maria. And of course, it is a wonderful parody. And Shakespeare was even poking fun at himself in all of the sonnets that he had written before
Sí,
this
sí,
one,
sí.
claiming that every woman or every person that he wrote about was perfection, even as perfect, even more perfect than the weather. But
I know.
here
I
we are.
love that one. The summer. Yes. Remember we talked about it.
Yes, we did. We did.
We did read that one and one of the love. I don't know if this year or past year. And then I found out it was really about a boy. I know,
I
not
know.
for Women's Day. Not, I love that one too. I mean, the
Well,
genius of Shakespeare.
yes,
Who
he
can
really was.
who can compare? You know. So
None. All right. Sonnet 130 by William Shakespeare. My mistress' eyes are nothing like the sun. Coral is far more red than her lips red. If snow be white, why then her breasts are dun. If hairs be wires, black wires grow on her head. I have seen roses damasked red and white, but no such roses see I in her cheeks. And in some perfumes there is more delight than in the breath that from my mistress reeks. I love to hear her speak, yet well I know that music hath a far more pleasing sound. I grant I never saw a goddess go. My mistress, when she walks, treads on the ground. And yet, by heaven, I think my love as rare as any she belied with faults compare.
Yeah, and that couplet to me makes all the difference because to me, my love is as rare as any, and I
Yes.
don't want to compare her to the sun or the moon, and she even reeks, but she's a real woman. She is real.
She's a
She
real
is
woman.
not, and I love the real, and so the last couplet, makes it for me, and that's why I chose it.
Well,
And the
it's
next
wonderful.
one, and it's beautiful. Who can, oh,
Yes,
Shakespeare, and that's why I chose a dude. But most of the other, tell your daughter. But most
we will.
most of the others are written by women. Most. I have a few men in the classics too. And this one is Maya Angelou. Hello. Who doesn't love Maya Angelou is and phenomenal woman is one of her greatest. And in this one, she starts, I'm not pretty. Hey, she breaks all stereotypes despite her skin color, but I have something in me, and that something is me, is a passion in her eyes, her spirit, her resiliency, her strength, her what makes a woman phenomenal, not her looks, but the way she is inside. So this one goes, we went from a beautiful, she walks in beauty, to one that's not so beautiful, but she's real, to one, she said, remember, I mean, we never thought black was beautiful. That's unfortunate to say. Look at all the Miss Universe and Miss Americas. I mean, it took only like 30, 40 years ago that we are electing a Miss America that is black. To us, it was not. And unfortunately, when Miss Obama came into being the first lady, so many people compared her to an ape. I don't know if you remember that, but it was true. So we've always thought of black not very imagine. And Maya Angelou tells us different. And it starts, pretty women wonder where my secret lies. I am not cute or built to sit a fashion model size. And yet she is phenomenal. This woman, I don't know if you've read her biographies or autobiographies. She has several, but the best one I can recommend to you is, well, I know why a caged bird sings. And it's when she was little and she was raped by one of her family members. And then she didn't speak for several years because she was so traumatized. But what saved her, she went to the library and read books. Yes, hooray for books, Roxanne, my librarian, and my library books and education saved this little girl, poor, raped, and from the South. Imagine South, she was born 1928. Imagine the South with all the racism, okay? And to read Maya Angelou, we have a phenomenal woman here, my Cynthia Angelica Gallardo, another teacher. She's from LBJ, and she's a science teacher, but she loves poetry, and I love that she loves poetry. And she also teaches at LC, and she's so young and working on a PhD. So a phenomenal woman read by another phenomenal woman. Go on, Miss Cynthia Angelica Gallardo. Thank you for reading for us. You're phenomenal.
Thank you, Rosa Maria. Also, a shout out to my students that are here from Lyndon B. Johnson High School and my significant other, Alejandro.
See,
So, Phenomenal Woman by Maya Angelou. Pretty woman, wonder where my secret lies. I'm not cute or built to suit a fashion model size. But when I start to tell them, they think I'm telling lies. I say, it's in the reach of my arms, the span of my hips, the stride of my step, the curl of my lips. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. I walk into a room just as cool as you please, and to a man, the fellows stand or fall on their knees, and they swarm around me like a hive of honeybees. I say, it's the fire in my eyes, the flash in my teeth, the swing in my waist, and the joy in my feet. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. Men themselves have wondered what they see in me. But they can't touch my inner mystery. When I try to show them, they still can't see. I say, it's in the arch of my back, the sun of my smile, the ride of my breast, the grace of my style. I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me. Now you understand. That's why my head's not bowed. I don't shout or jump about or have to talk real loud. When you see me passing, it ought to make you proud. I say, it's in the click of my heels, the bend of my hair, the palm of my hand, the need for my care. 'Cause I'm a woman, phenomenally. Phenomenal woman, that's me.
That's you, and that's. I hope you write some of these verses because I love what she is telling us here. You know, it's in the fire in my arms, the flash of my teeth, the swing in my waist. So many things that makes us women phenomenal. And she is not pretty. That's what she said. She called herself not pretty and not model size. And yet I am phenomenal. And she was. She wrote, I don't know how many books, received how many honorary degrees, and led a very difficult life, but she was phenomenal. And now, Still I Rise, that's her poem that is the most famous poem of all. I thought it was phenomenal, but Still I Rise tells us even about the resiliency, the strength, and the survival. It doesn't matter what you were dealt with. You can still survive and come out a winner like she did. And that's why we can't give, uh, we have to read this one too. And it's about all Black women and also Black men, but this time is Black women and women everywhere who have had a very hard life, excuse me. But Still I Rise by Maya Angelou, and Cynthia, again, our phenomenal teacher from LBJ, is reading for us. And thank you to her students, you know, for this phenomenal teacher. Thank you for being here, Cynthia. Go on.
Still I Rise by Maya Angelou. You may write me down in history with your bitter, twisted lies. You may trod me in the very dirt, but still, like dust, I'll rise. Does my sassiness upset you? Why are you so beset with gloom? 'Cause I walk like I've got oil wells pumping in my living room. Just like suns and like moons with the certainty of tides, just like hope springing high, but still I'll rise. Did you want to see me broken, head bowed, lowered eyes, shoulders falling down like teardrops, weakened by my soulful cries? Does my haughtiness offend you? Don't take it awful hard, 'cause I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. You may shoot me with your words. You may cut me with your eyes. You may kill me with your hatefulness, but still, like air, I'll rise. Does my sexiness upset you? Does it come as a surprise that I've danced like I've got diamonds at the meeting of my thighs? Out of the huts of history's shame, I rise. Up from a past that's rooted in pain, I rise. I'm a black ocean, leaping and wide, welling and swelling, I bear in the tide. Leaving behind nights of terror and fear, I rise into a daybreak that's wondrously clear. I rise. bringing the gifts that my ancestors gave. I am the dream, a hope of the slave. I rise, I rise, I rise.
I love this poem, and I hope you wrote one verse that spoke to you. I don't know. Uh, I laugh like I've got gold mines digging in my own backyard. And again, remember, this was a poor little Black girl who had no hope and no future, but still she rose to great heights. So I hope this is inspiring for you and inspires you to write a phenomenal poem about a phenomenal woman, or about you, as because you are phenomenal no matter what. And now, thank you so much, Cynthia. And now we go to Amanda Gorman. And of course, Amanda Gordon, she is the first youth poet laureate of the United States. It's the first time that a youth has been nominated, and she is the first poet laureate to Amanda Gordon, and of course, Gorman, excuse me. She's very famous because she gave a poem when, I forget the name of the poem, when President Biden was inaugurated. She was raised by a single mother, an English teacher. She had a speech impediment, just like Biden did. And I think that's why Jill Biden chose her. And she used songs to improve her speech. And that speech impediment did not deter her, but gave her the strength. And she, if you remember, she uses her hands a lot. And I thought, I love this one, that she wants to run for president in 2036 when she'll be 38. And the name of her poem is Why We Rise, and it was chosen by Miss Cristina Soto, another phenomenal teacher. She's an English teacher from United South. She was a dedicated student at Cigarroa High School, and I know because she was my student back in the days. A great student who became a terrific teacher, and a lot of her students are here with her tonight also. And she chose this poem, and I am so happy, because this poem is another one that we are not victims, we are victors. That's one of the verses that I loved about this poem. But read it to us, Miss Cristina, and thank you so much for being here with us and for bringing so many of your students. And I hope they all write poems, okay, for your English class.
Thank you very much. I hope that they write something tonight. That's the hope.
Yes,
all right.
that's a goal.
They've been writing in class, so and
that they
been
get
doing an amazing
inspired.
job.
Again, you have to read, or listen, in this case, and get into the groove of the poetry, because poetry is it's a craft. Thank you, Christina.
Thank you. Thank you for the invite. We Rise by Amanda Gorman. Today, everyone's eyes are on us as we rise in this hour. It is our fine duty to find the beauty in rooting for other women, so they too know that we are not victims. We are victors. The greatest predictors of progress. We press for change. We push on and act on our responsibility to bring visibility to the most vulnerable, to bring freedom to those who didn't have a choice, to bring volume to those who dared to use their voice, because it is their strength, her story and her spirit, which inspires other vital voices to speak up when they hear it. So let it be said that light will be shed when a world is led by leaders ahead of the headlines, the voices on the front lines, these first women who stand up, knowing the wind not by where it is, but by where it is blowing, leading the world not by where it is, but where change is going. We all leap forward when one woman tries, when she defies, when her valiant cries, here lies, but not rest, the best of tested women who call on us all to rise, speaking out truth in this finest hour, that to their own power, every single woman is entitled. But that's how our power empowers others, that makes women's voices so vital.
Thank you. And I hope you were affected by this one. I love to bring volume to those who dare to use their voice, especially now in these times, because it is her strength, her story, and her spirit which inspires other vital voices to speak up when they hear it. And I hope you students and everybody is inspired. This young lady is 24 years old, and she was elected poet laureate, youth poet laureate, I think when she was 21. Okay, she's a graduate of Princeton or Yale or Harvard. No, Harvard.
Harvard.
Harvard. And
Yes.
she had a speech impediment. She's a twin. Her twin sister, I don't know what she does, but she I don't know if she also went to Harvard. But the fact that she had a speech impediment and she overcome again by going to the library. Hooray for libraries. Hooray for books. You know, they are our saviors. Thank you so much for giving us this poem.
You're very
this
welcome.
evening.
And if I may add,
Yes,
Mrs.
Anne,
Amber,
yes.
that she is the youngest poet to ever recite a poem for a president. Next to Robert Frost, Dr. Maya Angelou, she's
Uh-huh.
the youngest ever to recite for a president
Wow,
an
wow.
inauguration address. And her
Yes.
poem is entitled "The Hill We Climb."
The hill we climb. Yes, I
The Hill
love
We
it.
Climb.
I loved it.
Beautiful poem.
Yes. Poetry is coming back, you know, in style. Because we did, I mean, I've told you before, when those of you who have been with me, I brought poetry back in the early 70s to my kids in Martin High School, because I felt there was nothing they could showcase their talents. And I brought poetry back in the 70s. And some of you were my Mando remembers that, Mando Lopez. Of course, he was in the late 70s, but in the early 70s, I brought the poetry, oral declamaciones and written. But now I'm so happy that so many people are reciting poetry. But okay, without further ado, now we are going to do Remember Woman by Reese Leiva. And I could not find anything on Reese Leiva other than she's Polynesian. When I saw the name Leiva, the last name, I thought she was Mexican American. So, by the way, I read her poem in Spanish first. So I thought she was Mexican, you know, she was Latina from, and then lo and behold, the original one is in English and the Spanish one is a translation. So I brought to you the English first and then the translation. And Reese Leiva is a poet and a playwright too. And she's an accountant, like my Angeles Borrego, who was here first. She's an accountant also by profession. And to read, first we're going to read the one in English, which is the original, and then we're going to read the translation. And it will be read by Ileana Hinojosa Molina, another dedicated teacher. And she is she is a bilingual strategist for LISD. She's an ESL teacher and bilingual strategist. Also, she graduated from Cigarroa High School. And also, I'm glad to tell you, she was my student back in the 90s, in the late 90s, and very dedicated. And here she is in this picture with me. She's reading Calaveras. We would go to this is the Laredo Region Care Center. I take my kids everywhere in the community to read their poems, anywhere where they would have me. And, you know, they would come out in the paper, on TV, radio. Remember, Liana? We went everywhere. So,
Yes, I
Liana, thank you
remember.
so much for reading first. And I love this poem. I hope this is a very inspiring poem. Okay, Ileana, thank you so much for being here, hijita.
Thank you
Love
so
you
much.
and I had all the family, I think. You know, teachers, how we have the brothers and the sisters. Tu Ivancito Ileana y Viviana, las cuatas. I'm so happy that you're here with us, Ileana, now
Thank
at
you.
ESL Strategies, a mother of two precious young children, excellent wife, her parents. Oh my goodness. I love your parents. You know that.
Thank you
I
so
know.
much, and they
Los
love you
señores
too.
Hinojosa.
They always send their best to you. So,
Sí, de
thanks for the invitation.
sí.
Okay, so let me read the English. It was the first time I read this poem, Ms. Ayano. Thank you for sharing. I loved it too. Very,
Thank you. I knew you would.
thank you. Remember Woman by Reese Leva. Remember Woman, you were born life giver, miracle creator, magic maker. You were born with the heart of 1,000 mothers, open and fearless and sweet. You were born with the fire of queens and conquerors, warriors' blood you bleed. You were born with the wisdom of sages and shamans. No wound can you not heal. You were born the teller of your own tale. Before none should you kneel. You were born with an immeasurable soul, reaching out past infinity. You were born to desire with passion, abandon, and to name your own destiny. Remember, woman, remember, you are more than you can see. Remember, woman, remember, you are loved endlessly. Remember, woman, your power and grace, the depth of your deep-seated heart. Never forget you are woman, divine, as you have been from the start.
Thank you. Thank you. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful poem. And I want to tell you that Ileana came from General Treviño, Nuevo León. As a freshman, you were a freshman or a
Yes, I
sophomore?
was. Yes,
Yes. And she learned English as a teenager, and she does a wonderful job. And now she's a bilingual strategist, pa que vean. Eh? And she was the perfect one to go from English and then to Spanish. So she's going to read the following one, the translation of this. This is the one I read first, and I loved it in Spanish. And because her name was Leiva, I thought, well, it was written in Spanish, but no. So to bring you these poems, I read a lot of poems before. Okay. I kiss a lot of frogs before I get the prince. So I think I've chosen a lot of good poems for you. Okay. And I hope you're writing wonderful verses so you can be inspired to write your own. Okay. Ahora, we always go from English, a part in English and then a part in Spanish, because part of the directives of the poetry, the poet laureate, was bring out the rich culture of Laredo. And what is more or better than we are all, many or most of us are bilingual and bicultural. We can understand and we can enjoy English and Spanish poetry. How many communities can say that? And that, Joe Arciniega, when you brought your Laredo Theater Guild International and you did Bodas de Sangre in both English and Spanish, that was, oh my God, it was like a dream come true for me, because I want this for my community. We are so blessed to have those two languages. Okay, thank you, Ileana. Continúa. Gracias.
Gracias a usted. Recuerda, mujer, de Reese Leva. Recuerda, mujer, que naciste dadora de vida, creadora de milagros, hacedora de magia. Naciste con el corazón de 1000 madres, abierto y sin miedo y dulce. Naciste con el fuego de las reinas y los conquistadores, sangre de guerrera que sangras. Naciste con la sabiduría de sabios y chamanes. Ninguna herida puede no sanar. Naciste como la narradora de tu propia historia. Ante nadie te arrodillas. Naciste con un alma inmensurable, alcanzando más allá del infinito. Naciste para desear con pasión, con abandono y para nombrar tu propio destino. Recuerda, mujer, recuerda, eres más de lo que puedes ver. Recuerda, mujer, recuerda, eres amada sin cesar. Recuerda, mujer, tu poder y gracia, la profundidad de tu corazón de mar profundo. Nunca olvides que eres una mujer divina, como lo has sido desde el principio.
Gracias. El verso recuerda, mujer, tu poder y gracia, de lo mismo que hablaba Maya Angelou, la gracia que trae por dentro, ¿no? Que es lo que sale afuera, ¿sí? No importa cómo te veas, pero es lo que traes por dentro. Y eso es lo que quisiera yo también que recuerden. Eres una mujer divina, como lo has sido desde el principio. Y el que sigue, el poema que sigue, que más bien es prosa, nos lo va a leer, es a la mujer, y es uno de Amado Nervo. Amado Nervo, uno de los poetas más excelsos mexicanos. Me encanta a mí Amado Nervo, de mis favoritos, pero tantos poemas que tiene Amado Nervo, pero esta es más que poema, es una prosa poética, hablando de estructura. Se fijan, no toda la poesía tiene que ser verso, podemos también tener prosa. Y para leerlo esta vez nos va a la interpretación es de Marco Franco. Quiero muchísimo a Marco porque era de mis declamadores allá en los 70s en The Martin High School. Marco, tú sabes que te quiero muchísimo, hijo mío.
Gracias. Igualmente le correspondo de la misma manera.
Gracias, porque
Sí.
uy, una voz que tiene y te queda muy bien de Amado Nervo, lo tuyo, porque eres muy espiritual también. Amado Nervo estuvo en el seminario, entonces nos deja en sus poemas también unos valores morales muy, muy definidos. Y esta particular a la mujer, yo se la di, la leí una vez en una, yo también estoy en el Hall of Fame, allá en el año 2000, y lo leí una vez y se la di a la Sister Rosemary Welsh para que la ponga en la Casa Misericordia por cómo empieza. Fíjense cómo empieza. Dice, el proverbio persa dice, no hieras a la mujer ni con el pétalo de una rosa. Y yo le digo, no la hieras ni con el pensamiento. Y como saben, la Casa Misericordia es for battered women. Qué triste que todavía que tengamos este terrible problema, ¿verdad? Del abuso de género y sobre todo para las mujeres. Dicen, ay, sí, también a los hombres. Ay, sí, pero eso es un porcentaje muy poco. Digo, si ustedes vieran la Casa Misericordia, espero vayan algún día y ayuden ahí con Sister Rosemary Welsh, ¿verdad? Marco, muchísimas gracias. Marco es poeta también, tiene varios libros de poesía, Merolico, el Merolico, y es dramaturgo y es actor. Joe Arciniega, this is an actor too in Spanish. Maybe you could, in the next Spanish or maybe English too. Okay, he's bilingual. But he's a very talented, and now he's a teacher at my old alma mater. He's a teacher, Spanish teacher at Cigarroa High School. Bienvenido, Marco, bienvenido. Gracias.
Muchas gracias y gracias sinceramente de todo corazón por la invitación que me ha hecho. Voy a leer para ustedes La mujer del poeta Amado Nervo. El proverbio persa dijo, no hieras a la mujer ni con el pétalo de una rosa. Y yo le digo, no la hieras ni con el pensamiento, joven o vieja, fea o bella, frívola o austera, mala o buena. La mujer sabe siempre el secreto de Dios. Sí, el universo tiene un fin claro, evidente, innegable, que está al margen de las filosofías. Ese es el fin de la vida. La vida, única doctora que explicará el misterio. Y la perpetuación de la vida fue confinada por el ser de los seres a la mujer. La mujer es la sola colaboradora efectiva de Dios. Su carne no es como nuestra carne. En la más vil de las mujeres hay algo divino. Dios mismo ha encendido las estrellas de sus ojos. El destino encarna en su voluntad. Y si el amor de Dios se parece a algo en este mundo, es sin duda semejante al amor de las madres.
Ay, gracias,
Gracias.
gracias. Me
Gracias.
encantó, gracias, lo lees. Joven o vieja, fea o bella, frívola o austera, mala o buena, la mujer sabe siempre el secreto de Dios. Así que vamos con el mismo tema, ¿verdad? Joven o vieja, fea o bella. Sí, no importa la belleza, sino la mujer tiene el secreto de Dios porque es la creadora de los hijos, ¿no? En la más vil de las mujeres hay algo divino. ¿Por qué? Porque damos la vida que Dios nos manda, ¿no? Y otra vez, y el amor de Dios es sin duda semejante al amor de las madres. Ay, no, esta es de mis favoritas. Está de un libro que se llama Plenitud, que yo tengo desde que estoy, yo creo que en primaria, el libro Plenitud, y lo leo. Yo he sido siempre ávida lectora y de lectura, de poesía y de lectura en general, ¿no? Pero gracias, Marco, otra vez.
Gracias,
Sí.
gracias, maestra.
Sí, y ahora tenemos, a mi amiga Patricia, la doctora Patricia Garza de González, que tiene su doctorado en letras hispánicas, en Hispanic Studies, en estudios hispánicos, y me he encontrado el romance Poetisa en un pueblo. Y esta no la podía creer cuando lo estaba leyendo porque como le dije a Tina y a Joe, antes pues no había mujeres que se dedicaran a las letras. La que se dedicó allá en el siglo que sería en el virreinato de México, que fue Sor Juana, pero tuvo que irse al convento porque la mujer no podía escribir, no la dejaban ir a la escuela, ¿no? Entonces, en esta época de Carolina Coronado, que tampoco yo había oído su nombre. ¿Tú habías oído su nombre, Patricia, en el
No,
doctorado?
también fue una sorpresa.
¿Verdad? Y según es en la época de Hartzenbusch y de otras, de Gómez de Avellaneda, que otras más famosas, me imagino. Pero poetisa es como despectivo, ¿verdad, Patricia?
Sí.
Ahora tú, Patricia es sociolingüista, increíble en el español. Ella sabe que la admiro mucho y la quiero mucho a mi amiga Patricia, mi colega del doctorado.
El cariño es mutuo y
Gracias.
efectivamente, Rosa María, este poema, que para mí es un reto leerlo,
Sí,
recoge burlas, un
ajá,
sentimiento de rechazo.
sí,
El hecho de que una mujer escriba
sí.
no se concebía.
No sé,
Entonces, en ese siglo, a mediados del siglo XIX,
sí,
la poetisa en un pueblo,
sí. ¿Y quién le hace más burla? Las mismas mujeres.
las mujeres,
Sí,
increíble. Sí.
increíble que nosotros mismas, mira, pues, ¿qué se cree ella? ¿Qué? ¿Verdad? Y desgraciadamente no ha pasado de moda. Quizá hayamos, ¿verdad? Como adelantado un poco, pero como dice la canción, damos un pasito para adelante y dos pasitos para atrás, porque así está el abarrote, ¿no? Digo.
Bueno, lo bueno es que aquí has creado un grupo de mujeres que todas somos valiosas y nos apoyamos.
Empoderadas, espero. Pero
Así es.
sí, acuérdate, si la de My Mistress Eyes era como una parodia, de a tiro es burla,
Es burla,
de a
sí.
tiro es burla. Así que
Bueno,
espero que
espero
les guste.
interpretar esas voces
Sí,
y dice así, ya viene, mírala. ¿Quién? Esa que saca las coplas. Jesús, qué mujer tan rara. Tiene los ojos de loca. Diga usted, don Marcelino, ¿será verdad que ella sola hace versos sin maestro? ¡Qué locura! No, señora. Anoche nos convencimos de que es mentira. En la boda, si tienes habilidad, ¿por qué no le hizo a la novia, siendo tan amiga suya, décimas o alguna cosa? Una décima es preciso, le dije. El novio está empeñado y ustedes se han engañado, me respondió. No improviso. Siendo la novia su amiga, vamos, no ha de hacerla usted. Pero por Dios, si no sé, ¿no basta que yo lo diga? Le volvimos a rogar. Se levantó hecha una pólvora y en fin, de que vio el empeño, se fue huyendo de la boda. Esos versos los compone otra cualquiera persona y ella luego, por lucirse, sin duda se los apropia. Porque digan que es romántica, qué mujer tan mentirosa. Dicen que siempre está echando relaciones ella sola. Se enseñará a comedianta. Ya se ha sentado la mona. Más valía que aprendiera a barrer que a decir coplas. Vamos a echarla de aquí. ¿Cómo? Riéndonos todas. Dile a Paula que se ría. Y tú a Isabel. Y tú a Antonia. Más fuerte que no lo nota. Ya mira, ya se incomoda. Ya se levanta y se va. Vaya con Dios la gran loca.
Ay, y qué bien lo has leído, Patricia, qué gran interpretación. Gracias, gracias. Y
Gracias a
bien,
ustedes. Gracias, Rosa María.
sí, como nosotros mismas somos nuestras propias enemigas y la echaron y se burlaron. ¿No hacemos lo
Sí,
mismo todavía en este siglo XXI?
de pronto sí.
De pronto sí. Así
Sí,
que muchas gracias y espero esto, bueno, pues sirva de que para inspirarlos a no ser así, ¿verdad? O a que vean cómo están todavía las cosas, ¿no? De malas. Pero ahora tenemos uno malo, pero ahora uno bellísimo de Gioconda Belli. El nombre es italiano, pero ella es de Centroamérica, sí, de Nicaragua, nació el 48, o sea, y todavía está. Sí, es guapísima la Gioconda Belli. Y para leerlo, otra guapísima, Samantha Garza, que conocí cuando yo estaba en el doctorado. Ella estaba terminando su maestría. Ella es jovencita, como ven, jovencita, preciosa, Samantha Garza. Y siempre me cayó muy bien esta niña para mí, ¿no? Que la conocí cuando se casaba con el doctor Garza, que para eso es mi doctor también, Samantha. Tu marido es mi doctor, divino tu marido. Y es madre, esposa, maestra de sus dos hijos, puede ser maestra de español, fisiculturista, declamadora por excelencia. Así que, y espero se inspire a escribir poesía para nosotros. Y Gioconda Belli es bellísima, tiene muchas poesías y novelas, pero esta me encanta porque nos dice lo bello que es ser mujer. Primero vimos la burla y ahora lo bello que es ser mujer. Y Samantha, muchas gracias por estar aquí, por acompañarnos y espero te inspires a escribir también poesía, que es nuestra meta.
Gracias, Rosa María. Buenas tardes a todos. Bien contenta, es un honor estar aquí. El poema que me asignó Rosa María está hermoso, es corto, pero me encanta y lo voy a declamar con mucho cariño para ustedes. Y Dios me hizo mujer, de pelo largo, ojos, nariz y boca de mujer, con curvas y pliegues y suaves hondonadas, y me cavó por dentro. Me hizo un taller de seres humanos. Tejió delicadamente mis nervios y balanceó con cuidado el número de mis hormonas. Compuso mi sangre y me inyectó con ella para que irrigara todo mi cuerpo. Nacieron así las ideas, los sueños, el instinto. Todo lo que creó suavemente a martillazos de soplidos y taladrazos de amor, las 1001 cosas que me hacen mujer todos los días, por las que me levanto orgullosa todas las mañanas y bendigo mi sexo.
Uf,
Gracias.
muchas gracias. Qué hermosa interpretación y qué hermosa esta poesía de Gioconda Belli. Tiene unas poesías preciosas. Yo apenas la conocí en el doctorado, creo con la doctora Quintana, Patricia, maestra de nosotros.
Sí, la doctora Quintana.
Y con la doctora
Así es.
Quintana conocí a Gioconda Belli y me encantó.
Igual.
Sí, sí, sí. Bueno,
Ujú.
muchas gracias, Samantha. Esa bella interpretación. Y ahora regresamos un poquito. Ahorita vamos a leer los de los laredenses, ¿sí? Pero acuérdense que les había dicho íbamos a regresar. Ay, Chihuahua. ah, ah, si quieren escribir, pues escriban el verso libre, free verse, the easiest. Lean sus versos en voz alta. Read your verses out loud, because poetry is like a song. It needs to be heard. Necesitamos escuchar los versos, ¿no? Y practiquen. Poetry writing is a craft, so practice it. Be adventurous, be daring, be you. Above all, be you. Sean ustedes, todos ustedes pueden escribir. Mira, espero se estén inspirando con estas bellas poesías y tan bello como lo están leyendo todos mis invitados, ¿no? Y lo que decimos siempre las maestras, as teachers, we always say, read first, and then when you write, then at the end, revise, revise, revise. So you know that one. And I'm going to share with you some of, now we're starting with our local. And of course, as being the poet laureate, I should be the one talking. I've heard other workshops where the poet laureate reads and reads her own, but not me. I like to include the whole community. I think it's much better. But I want to tell you that remarkable woman, I was responding to phenomenal woman. And this remarkable woman is Justice Patricia O'Connell Alvarez, who 3 years ago, 2019, yes, 2019, 3 years ago, she was elected to be judge. She was reelected. And I was in her committee to for her inauguration party, but the ladies in charge said, no, we want you to write a poem for her. And knowing me, I love to write poems, so I based myself on phenomenal woman, because this woman is phenomenal, and I put it remarkable. I didn't copy at all. I wish I could write like Maya Angelou, my goodness. But I said, she's remarkable. That's what you are. Justice Patricia O. Alvarez, and you serve as an example to all. And I continue with her story, and I continue, remarkable woman. That's what you are. When you remarkable woman or phenomenal woman, that's a repetition. That's a part of being of a poetry. I'm not going to read it all to you because I want to give to others, and I want to give time to read. And Mando has to go too. I'm hurrying for you, Mando. Okay. Anyway, this one I am going to read because I'm very. This is a phenomenal woman, my aunt. To my aunt who turns 99, and you can see her here. She was only 96. She's 102 right now. This woman is my father's sister, my father's only sister. My father died very young, and here she is at 102. But I wrote her a poem. This is my aunt, myself, and my daughter. So 3 generations of fronterizas. I also write a lot about La Frontera. So, but I want to read to you what I think is a phenomenal woman in my book. And it's to my aunt who turns 99. I was very, very moved to write about her. And I start, I come from good stock. Just look at my aunt who turned 99, fit as a fiddle, cooks her own meals, still remembers stories from old and relates them to us. We call her to ask her for information, and she obliges. Her memory is grand like that, but it is her amiable character, her optimistic view and stride that has kept her so well. We thank God every day. She always sees the best in everyone. She's never one to tell you anything bad. She praises each one all the time and makes one feel her favorite of everyone around. She has the gift of optimism galore, a Don Quixote of sorts, always looking to do well and treating others with the greatest respect. I've learned so much from this great example that God has set before my eyes and has let me experience in my personal life. She's a living example of love unconditional. She's had a rough life, but you never guess from her disposition. I'll take that example and put it to work. Always see the best in people, make the best of every situation, treat people with dignity and respect, love family and friends unconditionally. This is what I've learned from this incredible woman, my aunt, who just turned 99. And this I wrote in 2018. Like I tell you, she's still with us, and now she's 102. My aunt, María de la Luz Salinas de Ceballos. So, and now we come to the part where we listen to other people from Laredo. And the first one, I have to tell you why I put it first. This poem for Lolita by Yolanda Villarreal Williford. Yolanda was born in Laredo, but as a elementary school went to live in Dallas with her parents. This is actually her painting of Lolita is her mother, and she dedicates this poem to her mother and this painting, which I thought was amazing, like Gauguin. Remember Gauguin, the artist Gauguin? And here she is, Yolanda Villarreal, now my friend in Facebook. I friended her because I told her, I love your poem, may I use it? And do you want to read it? This is Yolanda. This is Yolanda with her husband. She sent me this, but I already had this. I love the couple. And she said, I cannot read it because I'm going to cry. So I asked this wonderful teacher from United South High School, a friend of Cristina Soto, that I loved last time, always very enthusiastic, con un ánimo increíble, Alejandra Iñiguez, and she is going to read for us, and I hope she writes also. Alejandra Iñiguez is reading Yolanda Villarreal Williford's poem, and the poem's name is Chingada o Chingona, mija, pero if those of you who were with me in school remember, I said, don't use bad words, because in high school I had to be very careful with my kids. But of course, this is the 21st century and we're adults. And what she has to say is wonderful. And I hope you're not offended by the words. By the way, I have Octavio Paz right here. And Octavio Paz, if you want to read in the chapter about los hijos de la Malinche, calls us los hijos de la chingada, and takes 15 pages to explain why we Mexicans use that verb. So read Labyrinth of Solitude or El Laberinto de la Soledad by Octavio Paz. Go to the library or and read why we use that a lot. Alejandra Iñiguez, are you here?
Sí, señora Rosa María de Llano.
Ay,
Buenas tardes, buenas
buenas.
noches. Good evening, everyone. Konbawa. Boa noite a todos. Hello.
Ay, que bueno, otra fenómeno woman, esta Alejandra, me encantó. Tiene una energía increíble y me encantó su energía y muchas gracias. ¿Tu marido es portugués?
Mi marido es portugués. My husband is Portuguese. His name is Miguel Bulto. He
Uh-huh. And
is
you,
a composer for mostly classical music and video game music as well.
well, see, I loved when you read, I mean, when you wrote that, and I had to ask you, poems are music, you know, lyrics are first poems and then they're put to, so this would be you, you know, you could be writing. And when you spoke in Portuguese, by the way, I love Portuguese. I studied Portuguese for my PhD. Though,
Really? Oh my
yes,
goodness.
one of my favorite poets is Carlos Drummond de Andrade.
Ah,
Carlos
sí,
Drummond
sí.
de Andrade. Oh, and I read his poems in Portuguese. I read them.
Oh,
I cannot.
that's great. I'm doing Portuñol, which is a mixture of,
Portuñol. Sí, sí,
of
claro,
Spanish
claro,
and
claro,
Portuguese because I'm
claro.
still more or less learning,
No,
but
pues
it's
yo ni
fun.
eso, pero yo ni eso, porque yo no lo puedo leer y entiendo 50%, no todo, no creas, pero me
Sí.
encanta el portugués, cómo se oye. Es muy, muy lindo el
Es muy
portugués.
dulce. Hay
Claro.
una palabra que me encanta, no para alargar señor
Saudade.
Armando. Saudade, saudade.
Saudade, tiene que,
É
eso
uma,
me
é
encanta.
uma palavra muito
Sí,
maravilhosa,
sí, sí, sí.
algo muito romântico.
Dicen muchas cosas, sí.
Sí,
Bueno, pues enamoradas del
del
portugués, ahora te
portugués.
va a tocar chingona o chingada. Dios mío.
I am so excited. My mother would never
Yes.
let me say these words, so I'm just
Sí,
like,
pero,
let's
pero
go.
estamos ya,
Ah, sí.
Yolanda, Williford, Villarreal, Williford, we're so happy you wrote this.
Yes.
We love it. And yes, and you give us a great, what a lesson to not be here. Chingada means the submissive one. Chingona was the male. Chingon was the male, was the powerful one. And now, of course, you know, that's one of the examples that he gives. But I'll let you read it because it's wonderful. Thank you so much, my new friend from Facebook, Yolanda Villarreal. I hope she's watching us from Dallas.
Okay, here we go. Poema para Lolita. Chingona o chingada, de Yolanda Villarreal Williford. Chingona o chingada, hijita? A question my mother would ask me. Every now and then, the echoing of these words brings out a sigh, followed by a long-lasting grin. It's only right I dedicate this poem after the most important woman in my life, my mother, Dolores, known to family and friends as Lolita. Let me explain the word chingona. Chingona accurately translates to a female badass. Perhaps it's profanity to some, but it's not to the Tejanos, the Chicanos, and the Pachucos. The word means great or fantastic or fierce or a really cool person. How ironic that it comes from the word chingones, a small shrub that has purple blooms and it smells like garlic. You cannot understand Latino culture unless you understand the family. This is my way of sharing a bit of that with you. I am a chingona. I am a mother, a daughter, a sister, and a wife. I am tough, smart, and witty. I can dance cumbia, salsa, polka at the drop of a hat. And that's just one of my many pleasures. I am a chingona. I am a mother, a daughter, a sister, and a wife. I am soft, passionate, and devoted. I am beautiful, and I've been called a champion. I am a chingona. I am a mother, a daughter, a sister, and a wife. And to my man, I say, I will respect, love, and appreciate you. I will believe in you. And I will fight for you. I deserve nothing less than all of you. I am a chingona. I am a mother, a daughter, a sister, and a wife. I am a Latina woman. Que vivan las chingonas, que viva yo.
Me encanta cómo lo lees. I thank you very much for that wonderful interpretation. And I'm sure Yolanda Villarreal Williford is very happy with your interpretation. Thank you, Yolanda. Ay, mira, even in sign language. No, hombre, mujer, me encantas. It is muy, muy. Oh, and I forgot to tell you all, Alejandra is also UIL. You have poetry and prose, right?
Yes,
For
correct. I
UIL?
host UIL Prose and Poetry. This was my
Yeah.
first year, so it's been
Yeah.
a learning experience.
Yeah, and you've been teaching for 2 years, so you're a young beginning. Is that 2 years or no?
I've
No,
been
no.
teaching for 6 to 7 years, but this is my first UIL year. Yes.
See, no. Xiomara, we're gonna hear from Xiomara, is the beginning teacher. See, So thank you so much. And now we go. What did I do? What did I do? I can't. Oh, I'm sorry. A ver. Oh, something. I did some. Excuse me. I cannot wait. I'm not too technically savvy, okay? So now we have Cynthia Daughtery Bernal. She calls herself the poetry goddess. I met her in the Slam Poets, and I love that she calls herself poetry goddess. I love it, and I love her poem Goddess Embodied, because look at her. She is such a powerful woman and sure of herself, and I love that she's all that. Okay, Cindy, and she has several books of poems. She's a terrific poet, and I think I've told Mando Lopez that I think the future of poetry is in slam poetry, because they're constantly writing poetry, and I love that. The only thing, I don't go to their poetry, slam poetry, because they start at 9, and not by 9 I'm already in pajamas, and I'm already reading my last novel too, so I can go night. So I don't go to their slam poetry, but I love it. Cindy Bernal, I am so
Yes.
happy you're with us.
Thank
Poetry
you. Thank you
Goddess,
so much.
yes, are you with us?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, I did something and I cannot, I don't know what I did, but I cannot see you, but thank you for being here with us.
No, of course. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction.
And
you're right,
you're a teacher. You're a teacher at Nixon High School, right?
Yes.
You're an
Not
English.
a new teacher. I've been teaching for more than 15 years.
Oh my goodness.
But I sometimes still feel like a new teacher.
Well, you never stop learning. As all the
Exactly.
teachers here will tell you. I taught for 49 years. 49 years. I can't believe it myself, but I did. So thank you for being here with us, Poetry Goddess.
Oh, thank you. As was mentioned, I do have a few books that I've published and a few collections that I've been involved in. This poem, Goddess Embodied, I wrote specifically for actually a slam that just happened about 2 weeks ago. So it's basically its debut. I think less than 20 people have heard it.
Oh, wow. Well.
So let's see what y'all think. Goddess Embodied. Today, I am a goddess. See, yesterday, I was nothing but a mess. And last night, anxiety was my shadow. But today I am a goddess. When the dust and the clutter falls on top to cover the shine of what you carry inside, it can make you feel like you are nothing. You are nothing but the shadows of what you carry in your heart. You are nothing but the pain that drags down the weight of your skin. You are nothing but the mosaic of broken dreams that cut so deep. It's hard. It's hard to remember, to wipe away the salt of tears that dry and crust over on my flushed cheeks, to care for the skin that's been bruised, battered, broken, and cut. See, the scars we carry can make our skin thick, but that doesn't mean that we do not feel. I feel too much. An empathetic spirit that reaches out to the endless ends of the universe, stretched much too thin, but still reaching out for more. See, I bleed when you bleed. I cry when you cry. I scream when you scream. And sometimes I forget that I am a goddess. I forget that a goddess can stumble, a goddess can break. I forget that my crown can fall off. We can all be dented and tarnished, but it does not lose value. I do not lose value. You do not lose value. Just like the light that I carry within, just like the magic that bleeds from my fingertips, I cannot lose value. And all the handprints of those who touched me, all the glances devoid of love, all the whispered words from weathered lips that try to drown me in their voice, none of them can take away my value. Because I will polish off that tarnish, I will straighten out my crown, and I will remember that today I am a goddess.
Ah, I love it, Cindy. I love it. So many of those verses. I cry when you cry. I scream when you scream, etc. I love it. I love what you're saying. I love the effect that it has. Thank you so much for participating, and thank you for bringing our next participant, Xiomara.
Yes.
Hi again. Xiomara is next, and I put the ladies first, Mando. And then you're gonna be next because Mary Sue is not coming here, Mando. So you're after Xiomara, just so you know, because Mando is in rehearsals for a
Not
play.
yet.
Not yet. Oh, good,
Yeah,
good.
but
Okay.
these are the young slam poets that keep me young. So
I
I'm
know, Mando,
having a
and I
great time.
thank you. Ay, ¿tienes bigote ahora? Oh
It's
my
for the
goodness.
play. It's for the play.
Oh, it's for the play. I didn't
Yeah.
recognize this. Well, I mean, I recognize her voice, but thank you so much for bringing me to the slam poetry that I love, like I tell you. But you know, no, I'm 75, Mando, yeah, but 9, when you start, I'm already, trying to, turn off the light.
It's almost 9, Rosa Maria.
Almost 9? No, it's 7.
I'm just kidding.
No. See, but anyway, Xiomara, we're so happy you're here. Look at this beautiful girl. She is a young teacher, a young English teacher at Nixon High School, and we're so happy. I almost, what, an honest drunk? Ay, Dios mío. But she actually, redeems herself because it's about her mother and her grandma make her so strong, right? And
And
that
I've had the privilege of hearing this live. So
yes. So, and I love Xiomara. I love her name, Xiomara. So beautiful. So,
Thank you.
Xiomara, thank you so much for being with us. And I know you're going to write because the slam poets, I mean, they always write. So,
Yes, and we actually have a slam on Thursday at 9 at Cultura Beer Garden. So if anybody wants to show up to catch that, it's on the same theme of like women empowerment for this month.
yes, yes. Well, yeah, good luck. Pero no, 9, no. Thank you. I but I will go once in a while. I will go because I love and like I tell you, I think the future of poetry is in the vigor of your youth and enthusiasm.
Yes, there's a lot of talent in our
Yes,
poetry slam.
yes, there is. I agree. I agree. Thank you.
Thank you.
Tell us your
Okay,
poem.
So I wrote this poem when I was 23. I'm 26 right now, so I was kind of sitting on it for a couple years before I was ready to push it out. But it kind of was just based off of, I know that like early 20s for everybody is a very unstable time. We're not really sure if we're here or there, where we're going. It's very confusing. And this was just kind of about finding strength in the women that I come from. So I'm gonna get started.
Okay. Yes. Thank you.
It's 2 a.m. and I'm sitting in my car, drunk and crying. This weekly ritual dedicated to Queen Catharsis is nothing new. It's sort of become my means of homeostasis from the day-to-day chaos. The only difference is that tonight I'm not sitting alone, and this is probably the first time I haven't felt so alone in quite a while. It's 2 a.m. and I'm drunk, sitting in a car outside of my grandma's house, and we're talking. And this is probably the first time I've spoken and actually said something instead of just trying to drown out how loud the silence in my life has become. And you know how schizophrenia is usually passed down through the mother's side of the hereditary tree? Well, sometimes I think that maybe loneliness and hardship were interwoven into the mitochondrial DNA of the women in my family. Because when we say that we want our kids to inherit the best parts of us, I don't think we mean all the difficulties that made us out to be as strong as we needed to get by. And maybe this is the first time I've allowed myself to not have to feel like I'm that strong when I know I'm not, because I see the woman sitting beside me and the look in her eyes tell me all the stories that the cracks in my voice are trying not to tell. So I have no choice to believe her when she grabs my face and tells me it'll all be okay, mijita, because it's been okay for her 65 years and it's been okay for my mother's 45. So I'm hoping it'll be okay for my 26.
Beautiful. I love, especially, the last part where, yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing this with us. And yes, I think a lot of us, well, not me, I'm from another generation, Xiomara, but I can see that. But I have daughters and granddaughters and nieces, and thank you. Thank you for sharing this very, very beautiful, very, very personal. I like so many of your verses. Silence in my life has become oh no, how loud. Sometimes instead of just trying to drown out how loud the silence in my life has become, I love that, how loud the silence. To feel like I'm strong when I know I'm not, because I see the woman sitting beside me, which was your grandmother. So thank you so much for sharing with us. And I hope you're inspired to write. And our next poet had oral surgery. So please pray for Mary Sue Galindo. She couldn't be here, but our own Mando Lopez is here. I always introduce him, but a lawyer by profession, but a artist by passion. And now I say artist because he's not only a poet, but he's trying out for a play. And he wrote this. I'm gonna let you. I mean, not you are in a play, not trying out. You are in a play. Excuse me. I'm gonna let you tell us about your poem, Mando.
Well, you know, I was very excited to see that Mary Sue was going to read because uh, Mary Sue and I went to college together. She came from Sonora. I met, and I was from Laredo, and we met, and we were part of a group of students there, and we were even on a college bowl team together, like that Jeopardy thing.
Wow.
And so we became good friends, and we have a lot of experiences. And back in 2015, when she was at Laredo College South, she invited the slam poets to go to an international Women's Day celebration. And as always, we all wrote original poetry to go out and share with the students. So, um, I said, like I say, I deeply respect Mary Sue and of course all the poets who are here today and everybody who read. Um, so my poem is called One Extra Step, and it is my reflection on uh, International Women's Day and the experiences that women have to go through that men don't. If you are lucky, the question sounds like this. Are you sure you want to do this? This question suggests that you have a choice in the answer. And if you are in this room today, we know what you responded. When you are a child, the objection is a statement and a question. You know, little girls don't do these things. And if you're audacious enough to ask, you say, why? You begin to learn the extra step that women are forced to take every day. When you are an adolescent, the block sounds like this. That's not very ladylike. And I have been told that in your minds and sometimes in spoken words, that your response was, what does being a lady have to do with this? This is the extra step that you live with. The extra step that my mother took when my grandfather forbade her from leaving home for college. The extra step that you take in the workplace. The extra step that you take when you balance home and school and work. The extra step that you take when venturing into a field far from your traditions. The extra step that you take when you talk to your sisters and your daughters. The extra step that you take to write the truth of your reality. The extra step that assures your loved ones that you have not lost your mind. It is a step that most men never have to take. But you see, those extra steps add up. They force a journey of introspection and fearlessness. They change the time continuum because we think we are walking beside you, but in reality, you are far ahead. Those extra steps add up, and with each one comes an immeasurable wisdom, unbelievable patience, and unrelenting determination. and today a joyful celebration. That extra step led you here today to fight for a world where your daughters will not have to answer questions that are meant to stop you because they didn't stop you.
Ay, Mando, so beautiful.
Thank you.
So beautiful. So, and so true, that extra step.
Yeah, well, you know, I grew up, my inspiration, you know, as a child was my mom, who went to college when my grandfather was not very enlightened about that back in the 50s, and I couldn't blame it in a way, but that whenever I ever wanted to complain, I said, well, you know, I never went through what my mom went, you know, I had it easy compared to her. And so all of us are fortunate because we all have someone in the family like that who just, you know, just kept on going and sometimes, you know, had to suffer a lot because of it. So I love to read this poem, and I've read it for my mom, and I always want her to know how much I love her and how proud I am of her. So
Yes, well, it's very beautiful, and hopefully our audience will be inspired to write something like this about their own, see how is their own experience. This is your experience. Xiomara was her experience. My goddess was her experience, you know, and of course my tia China, we call her my tia China, that you saw there, the beautiful 92, well, no, 102 years old lady. Is my experience, and I think they come from the heart, and that's what we want. And now we are going to have a next one en español, Día Internacional de la Mujer. Así se llama el poema que nos escribe Marco Franco, y este está pesado. Este está pesado porque habla de la realidad de las mujeres. Como dijimos antes, damos un pasito para adelante y 3 pasitos para atrás, porque si ven en los periódicos todos los feminicidios de Juárez, por ejemplo, mujeres tras mujeres asesinadas, y sin nadie que no lo han resuelto. La 90% de los asesinatos. Ven ustedes Laredo Times, tanto agresiones contra las mujeres, que la golpeó, que bueno, que la estiró, que la mató. Ha habido aquí en Laredo, ¿no? Quien ha matado a la esposa, a la novia, etcétera. Es increíble. Por eso les digo, vayan con la madre Rosemary Welsh en Casa de Misericordia y verán un triste retrato del siglo XXI, que van a decir, pero ¿cómo? Pues sí, mira, parece que la humanidad no aprende. Y este poema de Marco me llegó muy hondo. Marco, como siempre, buenísimo. Muchas gracias por compartirlo con nosotros.
No, al contrario, muchas gracias por permitirme este poema, que en realidad lo escribí hace varios años pensando en las mujeres que no pueden celebrar, que no celebran
Sí,
este día tan especial de la mujer,
sí.
por las olvidadas, por las desprotegidas, por las
Sí.
abusadas.
Que hay
Y-
tantísimas, aún hoy en día, nada más ve el periódico de
Sí.
hoy. Ay, Dios mío. Sí. Ay, mira, estamos usando morado.
Entonces, por
y-
eso,
sí, para celebrar, y por eso nuestros PowerPoints están en morado también. Sí. Color purple is a color that the United Nations designated,
ok,
for International Women's Day. Bueno, sí, ya te dejo, Marco, perdón.
sí. Sí, gracias. La fecha no coincide con la de hoy porque, como mencioné anteriormente,
Sí, no importa, no
lo
importa.
escribí hace varios años.
Sí,
Y
no
dice el Día
importa.
Internacional, sí, dice el Día Internacional de la Mujer. El miércoles 8 pasado fue el Día Internacional de la Mujer, que las señoras de sociedad celebraron con una inserción pagada en un periódico local y cena de gala en conocido restaurante. Mientras que la gran mayoría de las mujeres tuvo que ir a trabajar sin gran alarde, ni publicidad. Ese día, Abril cumplió 15 días de retraso en su periodo menstrual. Gabriela seguía sin convencer a su esposo de que saliera a trabajar, mientras su hija de 15 años le confesaba que iba a ser mamá. A Karina se le hizo tarde en la despedida y su esposo la fue a buscar porque no llegó temprano a darle de cenar. Joel amenazó con quitarle a los niños y dejarla, después de estrellarla contra la pared.
Ay, Dios mío.
Rubén también golpeó a su mujer porque no quiso hacer el amor con él. Y Lulú recordó que cumplía 7 meses de estar sola con su embarazo. En el restaurante, las damas de sociedad analizaron la aportación sociocultural de los monólogos de Dressler y alabaron el trabajo de la presidenta, la diputada y de Alvester, que competían por acaparar las cámaras del noticiero local. Y mientras cenaban, proclamaron sus derechos y defendieron la causa de las mujeres oprimidas en Yemen, Uzbekistán y Afganistán. Y brindaron por la igualdad, la justicia y la libertad. Esa misma noche, cada una, en el silencio y la soledad de su hogar, Abril, Gabriela, Karina y Lulú secaban sus lágrimas con el nuevo amanecer y le pedían a Dios fuerzas para continuar con la lucha diaria impuesta por ser mujer.
Uf. Ay, muchas
Gracias.
gracias. No,
Gracias.
gracias a ti, Marco. Qué fuerte. Y es verdad, ¿verdad? Fuertísimo, pero es la realidad de todos los días. Gracias por hacérnosla saber, que un pasito para adelante y 3 para atrás, parece. No logramos mejorar, parece, ¿no? En nuestra sociedad. Bueno, ahora llegó el tiempo que estamos esperando
Bueno,
de
la labor que
escribir.
está haciendo usted,
Mande
sí,
usted.
la labor que está haciendo usted es muy grande.
Ay, gracias. Gracias, muy amable, Marco. Pues yo,
Creando nuevos espacios como este.
sí,
Para la educación es la base de todo cambio.
claro, claro. Y pues qué bueno que ahora estamos hablando de esto y que tú y todos han sido para empoderar a la mujer, todos los poemas, para hacerla más fuerte. Y bueno, en todos los poemas han sido buenísimos, de diferentes temas, pero siempre enfocados a empoderar a la mujer. Right? I hope in English, right? The same. We are empowering women for a better world, for a better tomorrow. And now it's time to write about a phenomenal woman. So, I hope all of you write, but it's up to you. And once you decide who you're going to write about, think of all the reasons why. And write without interruptions for 5 to 8 minutes, then review. And at the end of 10 minutes, stop and fix your poem, get it ready to share if you like with the rest of the group. Volunteers to read their short poem will have an opportunity to do so. But type the name in the chat or send Roxanne a private message in the chat if you want to read your poem. And at this time, we're going to close the session for 10 minutes. Well, not close because it'll be open here, but we will all take off our mics, remove the mics, and in 10 minutes, we'll be back. Okay? And please stay and listen to the fabulous poems that hopefully we'll do in 10 minutes. Okay? Es un reto. That's a challenge. 10 minutes. Write me a poem about phenomenal woman and amaze me. Okay, thank you. Gracias. Vamos a escribir sobre mujeres fenomenales. Son las 7:35, a las 7:45 abrimos otra vez el micrófono. Bye. Pero it's ready?
Yes, we do.
Okay, can you call out the names?
Yes, the first one will be Cynthia Gallardo.
Okay, Cindy Gallardo. And then how many do we have más o menos?
About 4 readers.
4 readers, wonderful. I
And
was
we have
hoping for
another one.
more.
We
Is
just
Cindy
got one.
Bernal participating? Oh, there's Mildred Villanueva. I would like to read. Give your name. Where do they, in the chat? Where do they put it, Ms. Roxanne?
Yeah, I already got her.
Oh,
So
Mildred
right now we
Villanueva.
have
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We have 6 so far.
Oh, great, great. Marco Franco también. All right. All
So we
right.
have
Let's
7.
get people. Don't be shy. Okay. We all can write. Okay.
I
So
think
let's
everybody was
start
shy
with
in the
Cindy.
beginning, but they're, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes they're shy. Okay. Let's start with Cindy Gallardo. Cynthia Angelica.
Yes.
Phenomenal woman.
This is a poem that I wrote last year for this in your workshop, Rosa Maria. So I just wanted to go ahead and repeat it again.
Oh, okay. It's fine. It's fine. But it's along the same
Yes.
phenomenal woman. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So I applaud you. You, the woman who through pain and tears has succeeded despite the odds, who through disappointment has risen above the occasion and has not given up on love, joy, and living a fulfilling life, who despite heartache still continues to believe in love. You who has dried your tears and has gotten back up on her feet. You who despite criticism and those loud voices that try to put you down has held her head high and walked amongst giants. I see you. I hear you. I am you. We must empathize in each other's journey. We are each other. Let's unite and hold hands in unity. Let's embrace our time here on earth and strive to live it with enthusiasm, positivity, growth, and self-love. I am you, and you are me.
Wow. That reminds me a little bit of Maya Angelou. You know, there's resiliency of Maya Angelou. Yes, phenomenal woman. Thank you so much. I loved it. Thank you. Thank you. Who's next, Miss Roxanne?
Chris Sotos.
Chris Soto. Okay. Cindy Bernal. I'm waiting for you, Cindy Bernal. Where's my poetry goddess?
I think I
También.
have something ready if there's time at the end.
Yes. Okay. Está bueno. Be sure and sign up with Miss Roxanne. Okay.
All right.
Chris, my student.
Okay. Thank you. So this is entitled Ode to Dolores Santos Soto,
Oh,
my mother.
your mama. Thank you. Yes, qué
Mama.
chula tu mami. En paz descanse, ¿verdad? Falleció.
Descanse. Yes, ma'am.
Sí, sí, sí.
For 72 years of life, the good Lord kept you here on earth to serve and love so dear. You served as a daughter, sister, cousin, wife, mother, grandmother, great-grandmother, and friend. You gave out of your entire to all until the very end. You served as a student, a hairdresser, a nurse, a doctor's right hand. Yet one can say your true love and bliss and vocation came in as a household wife and a mother, and a household as a mother and a wife. The fruits of your labor bloom in our lives. You love the great outdoors, gardening, fishing, and camping out, casting tackle boxes, filleting fish, and cabins. We shouted out. You were the perfect organizer in such events. I must admit, Mom, it was the best time we ever spent. You were recognized as a talented cook, serving grand dishes and delicacies that shook us to desiring more of these delights: milanesas, potato salad, chicken salad, and peas in fried rice. Today, friends and family recall the woman's beauty in you. Your grace and talent are shared with those around you. We totally miss the precious gift God gave us. Your endless selflessness towards all are expressed in each one of us.
Qué hermoso. I loved it. I loved it. Thank you. And your mama is beaming down from heaven. See, I loved it. And
Thank you.
thank you. Okay, who's next, Miss Roxanne?
Iliana Molina.
Iliana.
Buenas tardes otra vez. Yo escribí en español.
Claro, lo de General Treviño, Nuevo León.
Me gusta expresarme más en español y es
claro.
un poema dedicado a todas las mujeres, inspirado en lo que, como mencionaron antes en la Junta, todavía hay mucha desigualdad, mucha injusticia, entonces me enfoqué un poco en eso.
Está bien, bien.
Lo nombré porque soy mujer. Porque soy mujer debo demostrar fuerza y sensibilidad, capacidad y también debilidad. Porque soy mujer debo aceptar, pero también debo pelear. Porque soy mujer doy prioridad a ser madre y esposa, y mi carrera y trabajo pasan a ser segunda cosa. Porque soy mujer estoy en constante batalla en cómo debo actuar y transformar las cosas que aún están mal. Porque soy mujer, debo romper moldes y trabajar el doble, pero aún así debo seguir fuerte como un roble. Porque soy mujer, ¿debo pasar por alto las injusticias? No, no más. Basta, basta. Mujer, toma ya tu asta.
Ay, muy bien, qué lindo. Me encanta. Gracias. Sí, ya basta.
Gracias.
Ya basta.
Ya basta.
Sí,
No
sí,
más.
sí. Ya no más. Ni una más. No ni una más. Not one more. Yeah. Debería ser universal, ¿verdad? Sí. Muchas gracias, Ileana, hermosa. ¿Quién
Gracias a
sigue,
usted
Miss
por este
Roxanne?
espacio que nos deja.
Ay, qué hermosa. Yo quiero que
Gracias.
vengan más gentes, quiero que traigan sus alumnos y que sus alumnos también escriban. Ustedes promueven la poesía, es que la poesía nos habla del corazón. Miren cómo qué bello de su mamá y de lo que significa ser mujer y todo. Okay, let's bring your students and share with them this gift of poetry that all of you have, all of you, all of us have. Not just me. I was so amazed that I was poet laureate, really, because I think I'm more a teacher than a poet, but hey, I'll take it and I'll take it to the end of the world because I love to share poetry with everybody. Okay, thank you all. Who's next, Miss Roxanne?
We have Alejandra Iniguez.
Iniguez. Sí.
My poem was, so I couldn't pinpoint an exact woman. And in fact, it's something that I wanted to tackle, an issue.
Okay.
But I think it's an issue that we all think it's not a big deal, but it should be kind of like a celebrated. I guess it's like a gift without it being a gift. So apologies if it sounds kind of like strange and simple, but I think there's like how I tell my students, the little victories that we need to celebrate.
Okay. Okay.
So the poem is called, or the prose poem, the slam poem, I don't know what it's called. It's called, Why Don't You Buy Purses If You Don't Have Pockets? Because I'm sure everybody in this chat knows we don't have enough pockets. So, why don't you buy purses if you don't have pockets? They ask. And I admit, I detest feeling myself up while I'm reaching for something that isn't there, rubbing where a pocket should be, like stroking a phantom limb or consoling a sore clipped wing. Yet in fumbling, I forge pride. I find something pockets cannot hold. Evolution, a revolution. I add where there's lack. I see what they've reaped and even evolved my hands into claws from carrying my phone and keys and my drink all at once. We all know the hand that we're talking about here.
Yes.
Made into vultures out of necessity when we're pressured to be swans. And adding weight, the industry pushes purses. But our talents, decorated in gems and pastels and acrylics, open doors, scratch backs, beckon love, mark territory, and clench purchasing power. When you see me feeling for a pocket, I'm not really reaching for a pocket. I'm reminding myself, I'm reaching for myself.
Oh, qué hermosa. Oh my goodness, that's so good. It's so fresh. Yes, I'm going to ask you all to turn your cameras on. And whenever you're ready, Ms. Roxanne, if you could take a picture of the participants. And I hope you've been taping this. I forgot to ask you if you were recording.
Yes, of course.
Yes, this has been a phenomenal, you're phenomenal women. I'm sure you agree, my gentlemen, invited guests. This has been a phenomenal women's poems. And I love all that you're writing. Yeah, turn on so we can take a picture of you for um, later. I'm recording, and I have I just made a website. I'll send you all a website. If you want to go to my website, and I have all my uh, uh, previous workshops in there in my website. I needed to do something. I'm asking for a grant, and I needed something. So they told me to do a website, and I did. So it's called rmdellano.com. Go RM Rosa Maria, just RM Dellano, and you'll see all my previous and my poems and other stuff. Okay, so who's next, Miss Roxanne?
Samara.
Xiomara.
Mhm.
Okay, Xiomara, you go.
Just a fair warning, this is still very, very rough, but I'm writing this about my mom.
It's fine. It's fine. We love your mom and your grandma.
Thank you. I'm sure they'd love to hear that.
Yes.
Whitney Houston said, "I'm every woman, but me, I'm my mother's daughter." Patricia Renee Gonzalez, a name that commands your attention, a voice as booming as her character. Since I was a child, nothing has ever inspired me more than her laughter, something in her smile. Her love forever breathing life into me. 27 years later, she is still the one I cry out for at 3 a.m. when I can no longer sleep. Her successes live through me, her tenacity, her guidance. What an honor to know that if I am nothing else, I am my mother's daughter.
Qué hermoso. I love it. I love it. I'm sure your mother is very proud of you. Yes. Thank you for sharing it. I love it. I hope those are enjoying this. Okay. Who's next, Miss
Mildred Villanueva.
Mildred? Where are you, Mildred? Where are you? Where is she? One of your students? Yes, one of the United South students. Yes. All right, Mildred, you go.
Okay, so I started this poem like not even an hour ago, so it might be a little bit bad, but
It's fine. It's
I tried
fine.
my best.
Yes.
Okay, so I named it From Ashes We Rise. It
Okay.
is to all women in general, and here it is. Born as a woman, though looked down upon for centuries, we rise from the ashes of our sisters born at a stake. Our sisters who refused to kneel before a man. Though our history may be dark, we rise above towards the light. After all, a woman is born to adapt and rise. As years pass, more women stand up for what is right, just as for their rights in the 1960s. For each other seen in the recent years, even if it's against the word of a man. We women step from the shadows, rising from ashes as a beautiful young bird that reeks of the divine. Though we still have ways to go, we will continue to rise with new cycles of life, of youth, of hope, of compassion, of strength, of power. After all, we are women, the givers of life.
Ah, muy bien, muy bien. Thank you. And you're Chris Soto student? Are you Miss
Yes,
Soto
ma'am.
student in
Yes.
English?
Mhm.
Thank you. You should be proud of your student. Very muy bien. I love that. You know, I taught high school for 39 years, so I love high school students. And my Chris knows, and my students, my former students know that I love the classroom. Bueno, who's next?
Marco Franco.
Marco Franco.
Ok,
Vámonos.
gracias. Básicamente es algo muy corto que estuve pensando, que me vino a la mente, y es básicamente agradecerle a usted por este espacio que nos está dando.
Ay, qué lindo,
No
qué
sé qué está
lindo.
pasando con la cámara, pero no he podido accesar la imagen,
No
¿verdad?
importa, pero
Ok.
te oímos,
Sí,
muchas gracias.
dice, en este día tan especial, la doctora Rosa María nos ha brindado un inolvidable espacio virtual para honrar a la mujer por ser la base de la sociedad y por su gran papel en la humanidad. En este día especial, a las mujeres ucranianas en particular y a las rusas también, no debemos olvidar.
Sí.
Gracias.
Sí, hay muchas gracias. Y doctora, pues me faltó la tesis, pero técnicamente sí puedo ser doctora, pues gracias por llamarme eso. Ah, y yo supe, Marco, que tu nuera es de Ucrania, ¿verdad?
Sí,
De
aquí tenemos el
Ucrania.
frente de guerra todos los días.
Sí, Marco's daughter-in-law is from Ukraine, in case you know, la nuera. La daughter-in-law is from Ukraine. So, ¿y tiene su familia toda viviendo en Ucrania?
Su mamá está en Helminiski. Fuimos a la
Sí.
boda de mi hijo allá en Kiev, estuvimos en Kiev, en Helminiski y en
Kiev.
Volochysk.
¿Y cuándo
Su
fue
mamá
eso? Sí.
fue el verano, este verano.
Apenas
Sí,
este verano.
sí,
Oh,
entonces su mamá, los rusos van a bombardear de un momento a otro Helminiski y pues
sí.
estamos atentos a los acontecimientos.
Ay, Dios mío, pues todos estamos rezando, yo sé que todos aquí puedo hablar por todos ustedes al decir que estamos rezando porque esta guerra sin mérito se pare y ya, se pare o lo paren, a ver cuál, estamos rezando por ella. Dile, Marco, dale nuestro amor y nuestras oraciones a tu
Muchísimas
nuera.
gracias. Muchísimas
Sí.
gracias, maestra, de todo
Sí,
corazón.
sí, muchas gracias por tan bella poesía. Me siento muy halagada. Gracias. ¿Quién sigue, Miss Roxanne?
Cynthia Bernard.
Cindy, my poetry goddess.
Yes. This is a little bit of a mishmash of a few lines, so it's gonna sound rather rough. But this is what I have. I come from the silence of two cultures that wanted all of me. I fought and cried and bled my way out of that silence. I learned to not swallow my voice with my grandmother's proud stance, to speak boldly after 2 decades of hiding in the shadows. I learned to not make myself small in the arms of my mother, to take up space and be in charge of my education. I learned to take up space everywhere. I learned to come from amor because I came from amor. I come from amor and I give amor.
Oh.
I come from the arms of my father. I come from the love of my mother. I come from the songs of my abuela. I come from a humble beginning where the only thing that I wanted was air conditioning to help with the Laredo heat. My mom glistened. I was a lobster. I come from a place where I slept on the couch because my family was full both of people and of tradition and of values. Mis hermanas y yo, constantly fighting for the restroom. I come from early morning mass, serving every Sunday on the altar. I come from La Virgen Maria, Catholicism, and more. I come from the roads of Mexico. I come from the family of Lopez, Doherty, Ramirez, Treviño, and now Bernal.
Qué hermoso. That is so beautiful, Miss my poetry goddess. And very personal and very, yes. Well, I thank you so much. Miss Roxanne, did you take a picture of us already?
Yes, I took several. We still have 2 more readers.
Oh, 2 more readers. Great.
We have Alejandra Torres.
Okay, Alejandra, where are you? I can't see your name.
I'm here.
Where? Okay. Okay, Alejandra, are you a student?
Yeah, I'm a student.
Where do you go?
United South.
Oh, great. So you're Chris.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you so much, Chris. Thank you. Okay, Alejandra, you go.
So this poem, my poem is called Happy International Women's Day.
Okay, great.
God gave creation to women. They have been blessings to this world. They have been amazing wives, sisters, mothers, and daughters. They have done amazing deeds. They are there at time of need. In this day of International Women's Day, we should all cherish them, thank them for their hard work, but even after this day passes, we should always appreciate them. Wish your mothers, grandmothers, and even teachers a happy International Women's Day, for they have spread happiness worldwide.
Claro, and even teachers. Thank you. Thank you. So how old are you, Alejandra, may I ask?
I'm 15.
You're 15, wonderful. Thank you. And continue writing poetry. Remember, poetry is a craft, and the more you write, the better it gets, okay? And you did beautifully. Thank you. And I'm glad you're with Miss Soto and they're with Miss Iñiguez, ¿verdad? Alejandra, yes. Okay, another one. Is that our last one?
No, we have Kristen Cruz.
Okay. Where's Christian? Oh, Christian Cruz. Okay, we can see you. Oh, there we can see you now. Okay, Christian.
My poem's called My Love.
Okay.
She's like a shot of espresso. She's like the sunrise in my mornings, daylight in my days, the stars of my night. When I look at you, I can't get the help of excitement all through my body. When I hear you, I become almost obsessed. I can't even gather up words in my head to talk to you. Once I try, I tend to just choke up. The only thing that can make me happy in my gloomy days is hearing you bounce on that hard wooden floor. The swoosh of the net when you're thrown perfectly, or the bang on the rim when you're thrown disrespectfully. I can't describe how I feel, nor why I stay up all night thinking about you. I can say I love you, over and over again, 24/7. Call me crazy, but I'm obsessed with you. Basketball, you're the thing that's taking my heart.
Oh, all this time I thought you were talking about a girl. It's wonderful, Christian Cruz. All this time I thought you were like, she's she walks in beauty and it's basketball. I love it. I love it. You have the gift. You have the gift, Christian.
Thank you, ma'am.
¿Verdad?
We have one more reader, Miss Angeles Borrego.
Oh my goodness, my student from Cigarroa High School. We don't say when, Angeles, no hace tanto, ayer.
It was the 90s.
It was the 90s. Okay.
So I'll just share that I just wrote this. I was inspired, Mrs. Ayano, just, so this is what I came up with in this, 10 minutes that you gave us.
Yes.
So thank you. So please, for everybody else that's a true artist, important.
Hey, it's just a beginning and then you keep on crafting it, but
Right.
it's a start. Mm-hmm.
So my poem is in Spanish.
Muy bien, qué bien.
Dedicada a Mamá Juanita.
Muy bien.
Esa mujer es la fuente de mi energía, la inspiración a crecer sabiamente día a día. No sabe de letras ni autores, pero a la escuela la reta. Que sus hijos tomen parte, siempre excediendo la meta.
Uy.
Nunca título buscó, pero mucho amor plantó. 7 licenciados sienten que esa mujer es la fuente.
Uy, qué hermoso. ¿Y es tu mami o es tu abuela?
Mi abuelita.
Tu abuelita, divino, muy lindo. Y rimado. Oye, lo rimaste y todo, ¿eh?
Me acordé de las calaveras.
De las calaveras, sí, lo rimaste. That was rhymed. And it had rhythm and rhyme. Wow, en español. Muy bien. She was my student back in the 90s and we used to write calaveras. And calaveras are like romances, 8, you know, 8 syllables with el verso pareado, you know. So, oh my goodness, it brought back memories. Is this it, Miss Roxanne, or do we have another one? Do we have